great example at a beautiful location right here on the Niagara River in the city of Tonawanda. And I want to thank everyone who was here. We have Mark Poloncarz. He's our great county executive. Rick Davis, who does a great job as mayor of the city of Tonawanda. And then we have three people who work very hard to keep the Great Lakes and the surrounding waterways like the Niagara, Buffalo Rivers, and many others clean. Jill Jedlicka from the Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper. Brian Smith, who's the Associate Director of the Citizens Campaign for Environment, and Brandy Merriweather, who's the Executive Director of the Buffalo UDC Urban Development Corp. And then, raise your hands, we have lots of volunteers who work on keeping the river clean, and they're young and they're old. Raise your hands, volunteers. Let's have a round of applause for them, particularly the youngest volunteer. What's your name? Lucy. Thank you, Lucy. Okay, great. Okay, Lucy. Yeah, I'm going to do a picture with you and Jill. Come here, Lucy. This is good. Come here, Jill. Okay. Jill works on the river. Okay. Come on, you guys. You're good here. Got it? You all got it? You press guys got it? This is a good picture. Okay, good. All right, thank you, Brandy. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so this is a great time of year here in Western New York. Able to go, whoops. No. You know what this is? Once a day I get these calls from this auto thing. You all get them too. I'm sure that's it. Hello? Okay. Call you back. It's not. It was a real call. Every one of my colleagues has my phone number. Every single, and that was Senator Murphy of Connecticut. Okay. Who also cares about, not the Great Lakes, but at least our waterways here around New York. We've worked with him. So anyway, it's a great time of year. You can go swimming and go to the beach and go fishing, spend a day on a boat. New York, by the way, is, well, I'll get to that later. So if you live near Lake Erie or the Niagara River, you know, and just listen and look, you can see a lot of things. You can see the water, you can see the people, you can see the boats, you can see the wildlife. It's just beautiful. And it's something that makes Western New York a great place to live. Our waterways are so important. They're important, of course, as an economic engine, but they're also very important for recreation and tourism and all the other things we care about. So, and today, why are we here? Well, an unprecedented surge in federal funding was included in the bipartisan infrastructure bill that I led through the Senate. So today I am unveiling the catch of the day, $1 billion, a huge catch. Today I'm unveiling a huge catch of the day, a record $1 billion for the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. That's more money than the Great Lakes has ever seen. Now, before we get into it, let me tell you there's more good news. This is over 5 years, and at the same time as this money, once the BIF is signed, will be there for the next 5 years. We're also going to be able to fight for more money for the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative in each budget. So there'll be more than $1 billion, but at minimum $1 billion. And the win is all ours because everyone here has fought for our natural resources and what they mean to Western New York. The Great Lakes Restoration Initiative does three things. It improves water quality and helps protect the lakes. This is one of the largest freshwater ecosystems in the entire world, and it's under the growing threat of climate change. We know that. It restores and protects our wildlife habitats and invests in our economic future in Western New York. If these rivers and lakes go bad, we're cooked economically. It's one of the reasons that Buffalo was established as a major city in the United States of America, was the confluence of the waterways. And if those go down the drain, they can't be used anymore for either recreational or economic purposes, we're in big trouble. So this is great news. These are essential things, not just nice things. Some people think, oh, this is sort of nice. Oh, no. This is essential to our economy and our quality of life here in Western New York. Look what's going on. We know that our climate is changing. We know that it takes extra effort to keep our natural resources healthy, and that's what we're doing by stepping up to the plate with this restoration initiative. We all know that climate change threatens the Great Lakes, affects so many of the livelihoods that depend on them, so this $1 billion surge is going to accelerate efforts to protect and preserve our greatest natural resource, probably here. Even more, the economic impact of the watershed is in the trillions, The Great Lakes support more than 51 million jobs between the U.S. and Canada, generates billions of dollars in wages throughout U.S. and Canada, and we must protect them. The fight's not easy. I had a lot of people who said don't spend money on this. I had a lot of people opposed to the whole bipartisan infrastructure bill. And then there were some that said, let's not pay attention to the Great Lakes. But as majority leader, I was able to use my clout and say we will pay attention to the Great Lakes, and here we are. So, again, it's a huge economic driver for Western New York, and 7 other states depend on the Great Lakes too: Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Millions flock to the Great Lakes for recreation. So here's my test question. Which are the 3 states that have more pleasure boating craft, like you see back there, in the country? Who's first? Come on, press. Florida. Good. Who said it? Florida. The second one is a hard one to guess. It's not New York.
Michigan.
Right. But third is New York, in good part because of the Great Lakes, the Finger Lakes, and Long Island Sound. So we need that. Here in New York, in Western New York, Lake Erie, the Niagara River, and the related waterways generate hundreds of millions of dollars in tourism. And think about what it is a little further downstream. Of course, Niagara Falls is an economic engine for the whole region. Lake Erie has always been our region's greatest asset. Beyond the recreational and commercial fishing, think about the businesses that rely on water. One of the reasons we're able to attract businesses here in Buffalo is water. There it is. Okay, so that is very important. One of the first things businesses look for is what's your water quality. And in fact, one of my desires to create chip fab and tech here in Western New York, big tech industry, make us a hub, is the availability of clean, cheap water. Because tech industry needs a lot of water to cool things down when they're doing all this stuff. Okay? So this is all very important. Now, if you think this project doesn't work, we already have had a test run. Because the Great Lakes Initiative, even though they're getting more money than they ever did, has been working since 1990. Look what's happened. The Buffalo River is on its way to being delisted as a federal area of concern. The Niagara River, right here, thanks to the funding, is undergoing its own cleanup, so it can be delisted for the first time since 1987. Lake Sturgeon and Lake Trout are experiencing population boosts, are fishing, thanks to the ecological efforts taken by the Great Lakes Initiative. It helps fishermen and restores our ecosystem. And according to NOAA, and I'm not talking about my grandson, that is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, every dollar invested in Great Lakes cleanup, the return is $3.35. So there will be payback in tax dollars, and a lot of those, the federal money comes in, but the tax dollars go to places like the city of Tonawanda, like the county of Erie, etc. So this is all great stuff. For every $1 million that's protected, many new jobs are created. So that's a good investment. So we're here to announce this great opportunity. I am confident that the bipartisan infrastructure bill passed by the Senate already with a bipartisan majority of, I think it was 68. You'll have to check me on the number. Senators voting for it will pass the House, and of course the President's for it already. So this is going to happen. This is great news. With that, let me call on someone I've worked with very, very closely on this issue and so many other issues, our wonderful county executive, Mark Poloncarz. And I want to say, we got a lot of money to Erie County, the city of Buffalo, and our local. He is spending it so wisely and well. He is. Some of them are not, but he is. Mark. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator, and it's great to be here with you this morning for what is another tremendous announcement. We've had some great announcements recently, including last week. Erie County's growing for the first time since 1970, and I guarantee you it's going to continue to grow. Why? Because we have the water. Look at what's happening across the world with regards to climate change. And they're already talking about growth in this community as a result of climate refugees. Why? Because we have water, and we have to keep it clean. We have to keep it clean not only for drinking water and the recreation purposes, but as the Senator noted, for the economic growth that we've experienced in the last 10 to 15 years. A lot of that is water-based industries. So I want to thank the Senator for his continued fighting to ensure the cleanliness of the Great Lakes, not only on behalf of myself, but all the people of Erie County and my colleagues with the National Association of Counties and all of the representatives in the Great Lakes states. Our Senator has gone to bat for us so many times recently. He is right when he talked about the money that's delivered to Erie County, because that would not have happened without the support of Senator Schumer for the CARES Act, for the American Rescue Plan, and now the infrastructure bill, a bipartisan bill. A lot of people said it couldn't get done, they couldn't get a bipartisan bill done. I had faith they would, because I know he's fighting for all of us across New York State, and for that matter, our country. So on behalf of the people of Erie County, this is a great day with regards to continued restoration of the Great Lakes. Very soon, hopefully, we will see that Buffalo River delisting. And I want to thank our friends with the Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper for their great work on that too. But it just goes to show that in 1970s, Lake Erie was considered a dead lake. And in 1970, it was the last time that Erie County's population had actually grown. And here we are in 2021 celebrating not only the growth that we've seen in Erie County, but the continued vibrancy of our waterfront and our environment. And that's because of great stewards like Senator Schumer and the others who are working so hard to protect it. So thank you, Senator. That $1 billion, we'll spend it here if you gave it to all of us. If not, we'll take some of it.
New York, but we gotta share alike.
You gotta ask. So thank you, sir.
Thanks, Mark. Great to see you. And now our great mayor of the city of Tonawanda, Rick Davis, wearing his patriotic tie.
Yes.
I have the same tie. I didn't wear it.
Thank you, Senator. Over 600,000 people visit Niagara Park every year, and for a small city like Tonawanda, it's a huge economic engine, and we wouldn't have what I consider the best publicly accessible waterfront without the Niagara River. The Great Lakes, the Niagara River, 21% of the world's freshwater supply is in the Great Lakes. 95% of the freshwater supply in the United States is found in the Great Lakes. And the Senator had mentioned how vital it is for tourism and quality of life and just life itself, with so many communities getting their drinking water from the Great Lakes and the rivers. So I just want to thank Senator Schumer and everybody in the Senate that voted for this bill, and look forward to hopefully receiving some of that funding here in Western New York to help us with restoration of the Niagara River and its tributary. So thank you, Senator.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. And there are certain people who just dedicate their lives to cleaning up these lakes and rivers, knowing how important they are. And at the top of the list are two of our speakers. First, Jill Jedlicka of the Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper. Jill.
Senator, thank you. Thank you very much, and first and foremost, thank you so much to the Senator for his ongoing and persistent championship of the Great Lakes. He's been a champion for literally decades on this issue, and we thank him so much for his leadership in New York State and in Washington. Also thank the county executive for his consistent support of all the work here in Western New York. Yes, we are standing along the shores of the largest freshwater system in the world, and with that great gift comes a great sense of responsibility.
What does it have, like 1/6 of the freshwater?
20% of the freshwater.
1/5 of the freshwater in all of the United States of America is in these lakes.
Right.
And they all come through right here on the Niagara River, except the Lake Ontario stuff.
Right. And that has made the difference for our region. However, these lakes have suffered. They seem to be, they are a one-time gift from the glaciers. And they are a resource that we, as in our generation, need to defend and protect. The Senator talked about the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative as an economic engine. You need to look no further than the restoration of the Buffalo River. When we had the audacity to say that we were going to restore one of the most polluted rivers in the country and in the state, people would laugh us out of the rooms and say that it's never going to happen. But it was because we have these public, private, and nonprofit partnerships, and because of things like the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative, that gave us the tool and the resources to make that dream become a reality. And now we are on the forefront of almost delisting the Buffalo River area of concern. The Senator mentioned the economic return of the studies that were reviewed. But with those economic studies, the Buffalo River has demonstrated a 4-to-1 economic return. It's the largest economic return of all the AOCs that are being restored. We've done it once before with the Buffalo River. We will do it again with the Niagara River and the tributaries, including Scajaquada, Black Rock Canal, Gill Creek, and others. So I want to thank, on behalf of all of my colleagues here from Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper and our tens of thousands of constituents, we are so thrilled that the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative will be funded, hopefully, at $1 billion, and we thank the Senator for your leadership.
Thanks, Jill. Nice to see you. And another great advocate for the lakes who spends so much time and for our clean water area is Brian Smith of the Citizens Campaign for the Environment, joined by Lucy. Come on up, Lucy, and I love your Crocs. Yeah.
And Go Bills.
And the Go Bills sweatshirt. Very important.
I do want to start by thanking Senator Schumer, extending our sincere thanks to Senator Schumer for his leadership to ensure this robust funding for Great Lakes restoration in the Senate's infrastructure package. There is no doubt that over the last decade, the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative has been a resounding success for both our environment and our economy. Not only has the GLRI helped to clean up places like the Buffalo River, restore hundreds of thousands of acres of wetland and other habitat, and stop invasive species like the Asian carp, it's also been, as has been said before, a major economic driver and job creator. So, despite our progress, serious threats to the health of the lakes remained, whether it be the current area of concern here in the Niagara River, or the fact that fish are still unsafe to eat, or that sewage overflows are polluting our water with raw sewage. But this infrastructure package is robust funding for Great Lakes restoration and clean water infrastructure will be a shot in the arm that we need to help address these looming threats for lakes that are threatening our lakes. This is a once-in-a-generation opportunity to catapult Great Lakes restoration forward once and for all. So again, I just want to thank Senator Schumer and the Senate for taking action. We're looking forward to the House of Representatives meeting the moment, following suit, and getting this over the finish line. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. Okay. And again, there are lots of volunteers who spend a lot of time working to keep the lakes clean, and I want to thank all of them once again. Camille Brandon, who's been a mainstay of everything good that happens in Western New York, is here, and I wanted to say hello.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nice to be here.
Thank you. Okay, questions on this subject first.
Break down where the money goes. Does it go to federal agencies, state agencies? Does it go
Goes to all different kinds of things. For instance, as Brian mentioned, some of our sewage plants send raw sewage into Lake Erie. There'll be money to clean those up, to upgrade those sewage plants, so when a storm occurs, they have enough capacity to treat the water and not the sewage, and not just send it into the lakes. That creates hundreds of good construction jobs, by the way, which is another advantage of what we do here. There's money to deal with agriculture. There's money to deal with anything that sends muck into the lakes, not just along the shores of the Niagara River, but tributaries like, the Buffalo River is a tributary of Lake Erie. So the money goes into many aspects of cleaning up the water and making it clean, particularly dealing with nitrogen that is in our water and has created the algae and everything else that's been such a trouble.
Are you expecting a lot more changes at this point to where this infrastructure money is going before this $1 billion
No.
gets secured?
The House will probably pass the bill just as the Senate did, intact. So
So it's very likely that
Yeah.
there will be this $1 billion.
Correct. Absolutely.
Senator, on that point, let's just say the House wants to restore $30 billion for replacing the lead pipes. The president wanted 45 or 17. What happens then?
Well, we can add into the reconciliation bill. There's a second bill coming along, which still has to pass. We passed what's called the first part of it. This is sort of complicated and arcane. We passed the budget resolution with reconciliation instructions. So you could add more to the reconciliation bill, but it won't take away what's in the present bill. Anyone else on this subject?
There's other waterways around here. I know you probably were alluding to it, but over the weekend, over in Grand Island, there was a area that was shut down for swimming because of E. coli also.
They would be eligible for this funding. Absolutely.
Right. So not only here, of course, but
Any tributary that feeds into the Great Lakes is eligible, and the tributaries of the tributaries.
when you say eligible, how do the communities obtain the money?
Well, there's a clean water fund, and they make application. And guess what? As majority leader, guess who I'm going to make sure gets a good chunk of the money? New York State.
You talked about how this will create jobs. Can you talk about what type of jobs this will create besides construction jobs?
Well, okay, there are many industries that depend on water. Manufacturing depends on water. Clean water is a cleaning and cooling device. So it depends on that. Obviously tourism, obviously fishing. There is still some mining along the Great Lakes. It depends on that. It's just up and down the line. When you ask a business, do you want to locate here? One of the first things they ask is, do you have an adequate supply of clean water, and what does it cost?
A year ago, former President Trump wanted to cut 90% from the Great Lakes restoration.
Yes, he did.
That's quite a change from a year ago.
He's long gone. Okay, President Trump didn't care about any of these environmental issues, and frankly, he didn't care much about New York. He cut our money up and down the line, as Mr. Poloncarz and Mr. Davis could tell you. Okay, other subjects.
Get your thoughts on the events that are happening in Afghanistan.
Yes, look, job number one is to get all Americans out safely, and secondarily, to make sure that those brave Afghans who served as translators and helpers for our soldiers and those who worked in the NGOs, the non-government organizations still helping the U.S. effort, get out, because if they stay there, their lives are at risk. I've been on the phone all evening, as late as midnight last night and early this morning, with the Chief of Staff of the White House, Ron Klain, with the Secretary of Defense, as well as the head of the Joint Chiefs, General Milley, to make sure, A, they're doing everything they can to make sure Americans are safely out, and then secondarily to after we get make sure the Americans are taken care of, these Afghans who helped us and whose lives are at risk.
What message do you think this sends to the veterans who, for 20 years, we've been over in Afghanistan, they feel like their work has been for nothing?
Look, I mean, the bottom line is right now I am focusing on this issue, getting the people out. And there will be, I'm not into finger pointing right now. We got to get the job done.
What shortcomings do you see the Biden administration committing here?
Well, again, I don't think right now is appropriate for finger pointing. Let's get these folks out. There'll always be time for congressional review. There always is.
Senator, you have refugees seeking asylum not just from Afghanistan, but from kind of all over the world right now. What's the federal government doing?
Yeah, we in the ARP, there's loads of people at our borders. And we need to stick by the law, allow people in who meet the law, don't allow people in who don't. But we're short of those places to house these people humanely while their applications are being considered. And we need more people, administrative law review and personnel to do it. We've allocated that money. The Biden administration was left with a big mess, and I think they're doing a good job of trying to deal with that issue.
The president is expected to speak about this at around 3:45 today. What message should he send?
That he's working on the problem. Okay?
Talk about the Canadian border.
Yes, will be the last one. Canadian border. Canada, for months it looked like the United States was ahead of Canada. And now Canada has opened up its border correctly, and Americans can go to Canada, the people who have little homes over there, who have relatives over there can go. But the United States, our government, has been laggard. I believe that. I think there is no reason why we can't open up the border to Canadians for the rest of the summer season, whatever's remaining. We depend on Canadians for tourism dollars and for commerce and for everything else. And I've been on the phone with the White House, with the Secretary of State, Blinken, and with the Secretary of Homeland Security, Mayorkas, urging them to do just that.
Senator, there's
Last point.
been some reports that a new Buffalo bill stadium will cost $1.4 billion. Do you have any expectations about how much of that will come?
As you know, no. I've worked long and hard to keep the Bills in Buffalo. And I will now work. We have a new governor from Western New York, a Bills fan. I will work with her. I will work with the team. I will work with the NFL. I will work with the county. I will work with the city. And I'm confident the Bills will stay in Buffalo. I haven't even seen a plan.
Senator, she has, the new governor has kind of unfinished business as far as dispersing a lot of federal funds that are either coming in or have already come in. We're talking about the rental assistance, about the infrastructure bill. Have you spoken at all with her about how she's handling that?
I've spoken to still, I guess, Lieutenant Governor Hochul. We've known each other a long time. We've had a good relationship. I am confident she'll have a capable professional administration. I'll work with her to help New York. Thank you, everybody. That's it.